All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. Let's get excited. It's Thursday. We got one more day in the week. I know it's hard to get excited about the market right now with Microsoft plunging almost 10%. We'll get into it in just a moment. Jake, the first one in the comments section. If you can hear me, if you can see me, you know the first order of business. Put a VV in the comment section appropriately here. Let me expand this comments section out real quick. There we go. There we go. All righty. I see people making their way into the room. Nancy, thank you for that. Jake, also thank you for that. So it does look like we're on about a 10-second delay, so I'll keep that in mind as well. All right, everybody. I hope you guys, those that are subscribers, those that pay to the YouTube channel, we talked about big earnings yesterday, right? Microsoft and Meta was probably two of the hot topics yesterday, right? Things I liked about Meta, and I even said this, about my 2026 portfolio here on the YouTube channel. I like the fact that it was undervalued. You know how much I rely on that valuation. It is a phenomenal indicator. And honestly, did us a great job letting us know that Microsoft was going into earnings overvalued. Now with the drop, now we're getting pretty fair value on it. We'll take a look at Microsoft here in just a moment. Meta soared. We'll take a look at Meta as well. I do like where the price action is now. We'll take a look at the chart on that. In addition, we got Apple this evening, right? We'll take a look at it. Amir says, what happened to the market today? Everything went down. Metals and coins and tech all down. We're going to talk about the miners. We're going to talk about the miners for just a moment here. But you can see, look at the major indices. Dow Jones down 158. NASDAQ leading the chart, it looks like. No surprise here. 334 to the downside. Software stocks are under pressure right now. That whole, Michael Burry, the AI bubble? Like I said, pockets. I do see valuation concerns and pockets when it comes to the market itself, AI related, quantum related, of course, semiconductor related. Fabio Show says, what happened to Glenn? Man, that's been a while. It's been about 6 months, bud. If you don't already know, Glenn had a stroke, by the way. He's recovering. He's doing well. Just want to put that out there. As far as the timetable from him coming back, if he's going to come back, I don't have those details. I do know his wife has done a phenomenal job. I think it's just Joe, is just VectorVest.com/Glenn, right? If you got a chance, maybe put that link in the comment section. Yeah. There are some updates there. If you want to support, give the cause because he is out of work because of all this. There is an option to do that as well. But that's on you. I'm going to let you guys make that decision. But Glenn, he's doing good. He's in good spirits. Last time I saw him, I shared that with you guys. It was right around the holidays. We went to a vineyard together, shared some laughs. Good time. It was good to get him out of the house, enjoy some sun, right? He even made a joke. He needed to work on his tan. Oh, I love that guy. All right, Joey. Let's go ahead and switch us into the software here. We can already see the major indices under pressure. The color guard showing one red light, and I actually forgot to get rid of that color guard. But yes, clearly we are seeing weakness in the market right now. Is it time to panic? I wouldn't say it's time to panic. No, it's not time to panic. Hello, VV. What's going on with UAMY? Alfredo, UAMY did exactly what I said it was going to do last week. It went parabolic. We've talked about it. Within the channel, I see reasonable investments, right? But once it gets out of that channel, we've seen the parabolic news. Can we get an update on the portfolios? Yeah, Fox. Let's start this way. Let's go into the stories, see what's moving in the market, and then we'll jump into it. I got no crystal ball in UAMY. But you've seen it. I haven't got, didn't do anything spicy with UAMY. I just put two trend lines on it, and I've been relying on VectorVest valuation to make sure I'm not falling for the hype when it comes to UAMY. I'm actually getting a good deal. That's from the investment perspective. Now, as far as swing trading, you see the stock chart, all kinds of opportunities there. Dayuper says buy the Orla dip. We're going to talk about gold as well. I do got a story here on gold, and more importantly, I'm gonna look at gold, the industry, and we're gonna look at valuation, right? Because if anything's gonna give us a sense of, gold, silver mining is getting too crowded with a, unbiased view, the VectorVest evaluation is going, it's going to give it to us straight, right? It's going to let us know if gold's way overvalued, if you should be taking profits, or if it's still undervalued and there might be some opportunities. We'll take a look at it, right? We will take a look at it. And again, gold, silver mining, it's picked up a lot of momentum. So, if you were getting into some of these positions, to hedge against the dollar, geopolitical concerns, whatever it may be, and you find yourself up big, yes, protecting some profits in these miners, just like any other stock, not out of the question. I like that dip. I like that. Are we talking about Orla? Let's talk about Orla. We'll get to Orla in just a moment here. All right, let me put on the stories. All right, first up's earnings. Talked about this yesterday when we did the live stream. Jerome Powell, didn't really, cause, most of the damage was done before Jerome Powell came on in the interest rate decision, right? Miners' earnings are going to be gangbuster. Blair, I'm not going to argue that, bud. I'm going to argue that factor. I'll tell you right now, because I'm pretty transparent on this channel, I was pissed when I found out my mom's financial advisor ain't getting no metals and silvers, right? And if you remember, every stock that I did in my 2026 portfolio, I tiptoed into them, right? I either said I'm tiptoeing on strength or, dollar cost average on the dip over those 4 weeks when I was loading up on the positions, right? But if you notice, gold and silver was the only one where I just said, scooped it right then and there. I ain't waiting for gold and silver to go up anymore. So if you've been waiting for, gold and silver to take a breath, we might be in the beginning of that, right? We'll see. We're going to take a look at the charts here. Now, as far as earnings today, as you can tell with the background I had in the intro, it's Apple, baby. We're going to talk about Apple. We got some other ones here. Visa, MasterCard, Caterpillar, SAP. SAP's down pretty big. I actually saw that in an article. I think it's a German software company, if I remember correctly. That was down pretty big as well. But we're going to focus on Apple today. Because if we look at yesterday, what caused the pain? Microsoft, right? Meta saved it a little bit. Tesla down a little bit. Elon got people excited about the robots. And we'll see what happens with the robots. But this, Apple, man, we don't want another big gap down in the market today, right? We don't want that. Pure play on RSI. Made huge on gold and SLV put. Nice, Ollie G. Nice. So, Ollie G, you're going to be playing that ping pong game, right? You're an active swing trader. Hey, gold and silver, just stay on the right side of the trend, right? Now, if you're an investor, yeah, there's different types of graph layouts. I do like the NPI when it comes to legging in and legging out, right? Because if you are an investor on gold and silver and miners, and yeah, if you shave some profits, after a stock goes parabolic recently, platinum is a good one, right? That one's going parabolic. Obviously, about silver and stuff. But yeah, if you shave some profits, obviously you got tax purposes and all that good stuff you got to worry about. And you come back in, but as long as you're buying the dips and playing those swings on the overall uptrend, hey, that's good. But once that uptrend breaks, and if it does anytime soon, just stay disciplined, right? Stay disciplined. Ollie G, don't you love those 3 times a week options? Fair enough. All right, so we got big earnings. We're going to cover that, right? This is the first thing I was talking about. And this is where I was talking about that SAP, right? Also Thursday, SAP slid as much as 14%. Software giant. Where's the pressure? Let's scroll back up here. Software stocks. Yes, software. So we're going to take a look at the industry because I pulled it up a little bit ago after looking at this article, and it's literally showing my least favorite chart pattern. You know what? If you don't know, I'm going to tell you what my favorite chart pattern is. Undervalued stock chasing value as value is rising, right? So my least favorite chart pattern would be price falling, value falling, right? You don't know if you're getting a good deal, value keeps falling. So we're going to take a look at those, but software is under pressure. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But investors question whether AI competitors and automation tools could erode demand for traditional software licenses and workflows. I am 100% think AI is going to disrupt all this. And it already has. Look at the stocks, right? Microsoft down 12%, now down 11.59%. I'm not going to be surprised to see someone, how should I put it? I'm not going to be surprised to see these stocks continue that damage to the downside. And we'll take a look at some of these software stocks. But I'm also not going to be surprised that AI is bringing industry disruptors. Right? I mean, AI is disrupting a lot of things, as we all know. Right? So obviously, software is going to be one of those. I'm not surprised by all. We'll take a look at some software stocks. Ology says CLS. I did see that drop on CLS. Remind me of that, Ology, because I know that was a pretty topped VectorVest mentioned stock at one point. So remind me that, and we'll look at it here in just a moment. All right, let's look at it. Meta and Microsoft are making big moves in opposite directions after earnings, right? Imagine if Meta plummeted like Microsoft. We'd have a lot. We'd be a little bit more bearish today, right? We'd be a little bit more bearish today. But that's fine. I'm glad Meta was able to do earnings the same day as Microsoft. Got to balance each other out. Obviously, Microsoft pulled it down a little bit. But we can see here, look, Meta appeared to gain approval from investors to keep putting money into its AI. It's ramping up its CapEx, right? While Microsoft plunged as the company's Azure segment showed a slowdown in growth and higher spending on artificial intelligence. So they didn't like that. They see slow growth, higher spending. The AI narrative also spilled into the broader sector. That's what we're going to take a look at today. Software stocks. We're going to do a segment on software stocks itself. So if you got some hot software stocks, make sure you put it in when you get a moment here. Now, looking at gold, this is what it's about. Me personally, this is probably not a VectorVest opinion. Debt. We just surpassed $38 trillion in debt, right? I don't see that being a good thing, right? And actually, the value of gold and central banks has now surpassed U.S. Treasury notes. That's not good that the world's flocking to gold and not the dollar, right? Yeah, that could be good down the road because it makes the dollar more competitive. You know, if you know macroeconomics, weaker dollar helps with exports, but it creates a pain in the meantime. It could definitely do that, right? Now, you see national debt has reached $38 trillion with net interest payments now the second largest in federal expense. I don't see gold slowing down. I even saw an article talking about gold at 8,000. No, I don't see it. NASDAQ has gained back half of its early losses. I saw that, Brian. Bill. I did see that. I was thinking about putting a put somewhere. I'll have to look at it after this live stream here, but clearly I had the live stream, so I was making the trading. So we'll see how it finishes out today. Apple needs to come to the rescue, right? Because imagine if Apple, obviously if it misses, but if they give some kind of forward guidance, spending AI, you saw the Microsoft, all they have to do is say the wrong thing. If investors are worried about it, it's going to put the NASDAQ in some sticky territory. And some of the other major indices, along with the VectorVest composite, right? U.S. debt has doubled every decade for a while. Well, but only 2.6 decades, really, because we had an even budget going into 2000, right before Bush. We had a flat budget, but didn't Apple team up with Team Android? Yes, they did, actually. They are piggybacking off of Google's Gemini. So keep that. So much for lowering the national debt, another false promise. I'm not going to get political. I'm not. Whether it's a Republican, Democrat, whoever it is, the debt's got to go down. The debt has to go down. If we see 39 trillion, 40 trillion, 41 trillion, whatever it may be, if those numbers come in on the debt, who thinks gold's just going to keep going up, right? Or at least compared to the dollar, right? And Glenn and I, we've done videos in the past about BRICS nations, and I've said it before. Saudi Arabia, other BRICS nations, they're threatening the petrodollar, right? They're threatening the petrodollar. So that's what it comes off. Your voice tails off when you lean back. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you for that, Bill. That's not necessarily the conversation today, but more importantly, if the debt keeps rising, I'm going to be bullish on gold. Really precious metals in general. So this is interesting. I actually wasn't going to do this one, but Nokia looks pretty good here. NVIDIA's bet highlights an AI opportunity the market is ignoring. We talked about Nokia a little while ago, maybe a month or two ago. no real crazy news stories, but the valuation of Nokia was just going up, up, and up, and I liked it. So we're gonna take a look at it. You see the analyst here, strong buy with significant undervaluation, robust financials, and high growth potential in key engines such as AI, defense. And look at this number. I've even seen someone talking about no 6G play. Y'all talking about? Have y'all heard about 6G plays? Ryan, are we done with MU? Nope. I don't think MU's over. Is it done yet? Budget, yes, but debt was still negative. Issue is caused by each party. Uber, yes, I would definitely agree. I don't think it's a Republican or Democrat issue. I think it's a government's getting too big and out of control issue and thinking they can spend our money any way they want. That's the problem. I think Apple is still on 2G. Dang, shots fired, John. Shots fired. Now, Nokia did beat their Q4 expectations, meaning strong net cash and projecting midpoint 1.46. Oh, this is it right here. Strategic partnerships such as NVIDIA's stake on AI RAN collaboration position NOK for leadership and expansion beyond traditional telecom. I'll write that down, actually. Could be a good video in the future. But we're going to take a look at this stock in the software, not just because it's got the partnership with NVIDIA, not just because it's talking about 6G and other applications of futuristic technology. That sounds pretty important, especially if it's on the radar of Jensen. MU is only up 8.7% this week. That's sad. That's sad. That's sad when you're mad that your stock's only up 8% in a week, right? We've been spoiled with Micron. If Micron takes a breather, who's going to be surprised? Now, if you sell Micron, that's on you, right? But in the long haul, actually, I just texted my mom earlier and said if Micron pulls back, we're going to have to buy some more. So I'm not on the get side. Now, if you're a trader, and obviously you're just doing a quick swing in Micron, we'll take a look at the chart and you might be getting out of it soon, right? Wait, we have a stable 5G network. Tabula says, didn't realize you guys still did live stream. It's been a while since you did the last one. The holidays kind of messed us up, Tabula. It messed us up. We did cut them back. The new schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we got Friday's power hour. Still, that does. But that's a new schedule. We just dropped the mobile app on Fridays. Just that. But we're going to jump into the program now. Let's take a look at Nokia here. All right. Market, still not looking very good, as Glenn would say. Poopy, right? Poopy. Look at semiconductors up 0.5%, and you're in a rush to sell your Micron. Now uranium's volatile; it's down 8%. So yeah, if you protect some profits there, I want to be surprised, right? Let's go to viewers, and actually let's look at these here: Nokia and SAT. Oh, sorry, Alfred. Monday, we were closed because of the snow. We were closed because of the snow on Monday, Alfred. I apologize for that. Yeah, you know, North Carolina, we get a little bit of snow. We shut down here. We don't do that. We don't mess with that snow stuff. Look at these stocks, though. ServiceNow down 12%. SAP down 15%. Let's just put in Microsoft here. Make my point here. Software, not the place to be right now. It's not. It's the hardware, right? It's where it's at. So first thing I want to do, and look at the mic with the 11% drop, Microsoft still slightly overvalued. We'll call it fair value, right? So now I see Microsoft being a fair price, right? Talked about this yesterday. That's one of the reasons why I liked Meta so much. ServiceNow down 12%. So I'm not going to go to the software stocks too much. Just stay disciplined on those. I'll take a couple picks if you have some troubled software picks here in just a moment. But what I want to look at is view the sector graph. Oh. There we go. Let's get rid of that 200-day. So here's our value. Make it bigger here. Make it area. Let's get rid of this stuff. Actually, make it easier. So changing all this. Let's go to simple. So here's the software sector over the last year, right? You know me. Look at this. Price falling, value falling. Nothing about that. That's like my least favorite thing. I mean, the only other thing would be it to be overvalued and both to be falling, right? Ryan, now it's finally getting close to price and value being equal. Check out value on the now chart. So this is what we're going to get to. Good point, John. Good point, John. Look at the value now over the space, right? Because let's be honest, these stocks are moving down together. We're going to need the group to move up together, right? And there might be a couple that stand out for sure. But you can see it was still, look at this, price down. You think you might be getting a good deal here, but look, value just keeps going down. Only now value leveled out around $32, and now it's starting to rise, coming in at just 34. So barely. So as of right now, this space, the low, we'll just say the close, 36.34. We value at 34. What? About, we'll say $3, just over, so just shy of 10%. Still overvalued, right? So I want to be in a rush to get in these software stocks. But yes, if we see a little bit more pressure, some of these stocks, and you find some good deals, might be worth taking some opportunities, right? A little, definitely aggressive right now. Let's see this happen. Let's get a bit closer to value. If anything, what I'd really like to see is value start to tick up, even if price stayed the same or dropped a little bit, and then put us in undervalued territory. Because then I get a space that's undervalued. Value is actually starting to rise, and we're seeing it rise since September. So we've got several months of value rising here. So I don't want to get into a space where value just keeps dropping, right? Because how do I know I'm getting a good value? If I buy it and the value keeps dropping, right? I'm not getting it. Software out of favor. Let it go. Yep, that is it. So just keep, software, I'd keep in the back of your mind, right? Just, if you see this come back in this industry chart and you see value ticking up and price undervalued, then you didn't have to wait for all this pain over the last 12 months, right? Then some opportunities might be presenting themselves. And as well, look at the earnings per share. It went from negative to just 40 cents in positive territory. So not a lot of earnings for the space. All right. Now let's take a look at Nokia here. View stock graph. Look at Nokia. Get rid of this crosshair cursor here. Let's just go to 6-month chart. That is beautiful. We look at it over the last 6 months here. Now you see the breakout? You see the breakout? So naturally, I'm looking for the retest right here, which looks like it did, or close to it. But that's 579, right? So I'd really want to see price action stay above 579. We're already seeing some weakness in RT relative timing, some consolidation here. So not the best time to buy it by all means, but it is garnishing some attention. And if we look at it over the last year, we see the stock was sub $5, hit a high of $8 right around its valuation, pulling back a little bit, right? If I had to guess, let's see, let's put right here. Yep, that's the retest right there when it broke out. See, I like to do that. We actually never retested this. There's a small gap here. That might be what the technical traders are waiting for, to be honest. This little gap on Nokia, I'd wait to see that's filled. If you get some kind of pivot with some kind of follow through or confirmation in the next candlestick, after that, that would probably be my short-term trade, right? Let's see here. Big presentation about IBM on Squawk Box this morning. The SAS stocks are bad enterprise value. EV and AI and IA is killing them. AI is perceived as reducing need for SAS companies. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with that. I think AI is gonna mess up a lot of companies. It's already messing up jobs, right? So if it's gonna mess up jobs, if everyone's scared about AI replacing jobs, right? Well, naturally, AI is going to replace companies, right? You don't want to be in the crosshairs of that. Automation, software, I see that being a tricky space to play over the next few years, right? You got to make sure you stick with the leaders. But yeah, as far as Nokia, that looks good. Not quite yet, but that looks good in general, though, especially for more of a technical pivot, if that does come out to be. All right, let's take a look at these earnings here. These are the big stocks from yesterday, and then I've got Apple today. Seeing it, there's only one undervalued stock in the list here, Meta. That's the one actually doing the best today, up 10% with a buy rating, while Microsoft was overvalued. Now with the pullback, we'll call it fairly valued, down about 12% sell ratings. Be careful on Microsoft. Apple, let's see what the RT is. So it's already feeling some pressure here. IBM up a little bit. Might just be looking to get some favorable uptrend. You see RT at 0.99, making its way up closer to favorable territory above 1. Tesla slightly down. You know, until we see some robots, I don't think anyone's falling for Elon's hype, right? I'm not going to bet against him, but he's got some competition, and not just local, but international competition too. All right, so here's Meta on the chart. Look at the value, rocking and rolling. Came just shy of this gap here, right? Look at the bottom wick. Oh, actually, it tried to close the gap with these wicks here. Oh, look at that. Sneaky, sneaky. You see the upper wick here for the bottom half of this gap? You see this one here, this wick? You know, gapped up and then it sold off this morning. Literally, if I had to guess, probably to touch this. It's trying to close this gap here, these two wicks. We'll see, but the stock with rising earnings, RT back above 1. We held this uptrend here. You see the uptrend? I like it. Value starting to rise. We could see the buy rating here. I wonder if we got a buy rating before earnings, which we did. We had 2 days prior to earnings. Meta got a buy. Meta got a buy rating from the VectorVest software. That's a beautiful stock. I know it doesn't look too pretty here. A lot of consolidation, right? But I put it in my 2026 portfolio for a reason. I'm not going to sleep on old Zuckerberg. Now here's Microsoft, right? You can see the rollover, just in effect, such a long, slow rollover here. Plenty of time, plenty of warning. This is my last support level here. Jumped up. Nice little pivot off the support level. Hit this resistance. There we go. Get rid of that. Well, came just shy of the resistance. We actually failed to beat this swing high here. But ultimately, the story and the reason why I didn't feel too comfortable with Microsoft, it was just overvalued. We were already in a rollover situation. Overvalued. Now, we got a gap here, right? Look at this gap. Look at my support here. Last time, this was resistance, obviously, and it broke above it. Never retested it, right? How many times we got to see a retest to learn that stocks typically behave in a retest manner, right? And I'm not going to be shocked. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be shocked to see Microsoft coming in here around $400 and looking to pivot off of this. And I'll be honest with you. If Microsoft gets under 400, especially 390, and I see a nice little pivot here, I might get my mom in a little entry position, right? It's a big cap company, and it's a good price for it. That's what my mom likes. That's what many of you want, right? Good companies, and you pay a good price for it. But sell recommendation just flashing today. Hey, let's let the pressure do what it does so that way we can hopefully get a better price in the future, right? But and I'll put this out here, full disclosure. My aunt is on the board of Microsoft, by the way. So there are some things I can't necessarily talk about when it comes to Microsoft. I don't think anyone else, I mean, obviously she would own some shares, but I don't think anyone else really owns Microsoft in my family like that. But if I can get it under $400, I might text mom, Mom, you better, maybe take a little nibble, and if there's some follow through to the upside, we can add to that position, right? Microsoft beyond repair, near term, Azure lost it. Go to IBM. I'll have to do some research on that. Why do you say that, Mark, son? Why do you say that? I just want to know that. I'm just curious. Because you might know something that we don't know, right? There's a whole lot of people watching this, and a lot of you are in so many different industries. I've gotten to meet a lot of you guys here and gals here. But yeah, so if you know something, let me know. Azure priced out. Interesting. But yeah, I can imagine that whole AI thing, disrupting a lot of these big tech companies, right? Azure lost market due to price. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Let's take a look at IBM. So IBM's coming up here. Apple, look at this. Uptrend, So for example, and this is the same advice I'd give my mom. I don't lie to you. So by here, I got swing low, right? So by here, I got a third swing low. So I definitely know there's some support here, right? And look what's happening to this price. It's diverging away from our value, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? The stock's doing a lot. It moved from 200 bucks almost to 280. So you're talking about what, a 40% move here? And yeah, if, my mom's up 40% in a stock in a couple months, I might have her trim some profits, right? Especially if it's overvalued. But what I don't like here, it's kind of shaping up like Microsoft yesterday. This swing high failed to beat this high just from a technical perspective. RT below 1. Unless they say something to really get investors enthused, I'm not going to be that optimistic when it comes to Apple's earnings. Just that simply put. Earnings per share is rising. I like that. I like values rising. But look, Apple, it's just been overvalued this entire time. Let's scroll back some more here. Scroll back some more. As obviously you can see, I've been looking at Apple for a while. Boom, 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 boom. Nice little trend here. But yeah, it's been trading at a premium this whole time. And the stock went from 182 bucks almost 2 years ago. Now it's at 258, right? Interesting. Ryan, did you see the movie Viav? I have not. That's a movie? Move in. Sorry. Let's combine those two. Viav. But yeah, as far as Apple, I just don't like. I'm not saying it's a bad stock. Obviously, I'm team Android. I like Google better. But as far as the stock itself, unbiased, I just don't like what I'm seeing right now, especially with this break here. I see the premium. I still see, I think we're just paying a premium for Apple. And that's just the truth. Here's IBM. You're talking about a premium. Yeah, look, it gapped up. Probably, Mark, like what you might be saying. Stealing some of that business from Microsoft, right? They're all competing with each other. But I'm not getting any follow through on this. And I see an undervalued stock here. It's really not far from where it was back in June, 6 months ago, right? I see the earnings rising. I see the value rising. I like that, but the stock's just overvalued. Now, here's the long-term trend, just like I would do Apple, right? Here's the long-term trend. As long as we stay above this line, hey, I'll ride it out. But Ryan, I took your advice and got the Google Pixel phone. I really like it. That was a great suggestion. Thank you. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. I liked it too. I mean, I got like the first week it came out. I got not the most recent one. I think it just came out this fall, but the one that came out last fall. The AI Gemini feature, they're pretty cool. Not gonna lie. You'll have fun with that, John. But yeah, as far as IBM, I'm gonna stick more to the technicals as long as it stays above this trend line. Hey, it is what it is. But if it breaks this trend line here and that value hasn't creeped its way up closer to 250, I'll say, I'd be concerned. Not that it's a bad stock, just that investors are paying a premium right now for it, right? All right, here's Tesla. You want to talk about premium? I've been talking about these robots forever now. We'll see. The stock's down today. It's just not here. Look at the earnings per share dropping. I'm not even going to get to the stock chart. It got nothing to do with the stock chart. It got nothing to do with the earnings growth rate. It's got everything to do with the humanoid robots, the Optimus robot. Either Elon pulls it through, the good robot, and yeah, if it's a good robot and everyone buys it, probably a $1 trillion company, a multi-trillion-dollar company, right? But at some point, if he doesn't pull this off, and another competitor, in China being one of those competitors, because a lot of their EV companies, BYD, I don't know if you saw that, they're in robotics, right? They're all following the same path as Tesla with the EV technology, the battery technology, building the infrastructure, and bam, we're moving to robots, right? Tesla, Elon, I hope you do it, man. I hope you do. As far as the stock, you're paying a lot of premium right now for that, and I'll be honest with you, we're on a good run right now. And just to keep things simple, boom, 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 broke that trend line. You see it? We broke it. It's not good. Actually, it looks like we just broke it. And look at RT giving us weakness as we face that trend. RT went favorable. You see here it was unfavorable for the most part. A lot of pressure, right? Don't want to be in Tesla with RT with that much momentum to the downside. Came back, been wobbling around now, but really starting to hit a lower low. If we look at 3-month chart, you can see right here, lower low, breaking the line here. No, trade the chart, not your heart. That's all I'm going to say. Trade the chart, not your heart. If I'm going to trade it, well, if we break this, we got a little consolidation here, but if we break this right here, that's the short right there. About 369 to about 300, 280. Right? Yeah, you can play this a little bit, but definitely I would feel more comfortable after this consolidation. Probably the swing low here, which was the last touch on this trend line. That's just a short little Tesla short, literally short, if you wanted to, or puts or something like that. I would be more bearish with Tesla. Not to pick on Elon. I hope he does do the robots, but we just ain't there. We just ain't there. I speak it how it is. All right. What time is it? 2:35. Real quick. I want the first 5 software stocks that come to your mind. Either you're holding them. I doubt they're winning. But most likely they're going to be troubled stocks, right? So either you're holding on to this guy and you just want some advice, maybe should I have already sold it? Should I consider selling it? Whatever. Or you could be bottom fishing, right? Think about it. That price in the software industry space is getting real close to our valuation, right? So there could be some bottom fishing opportunities, some value opportunities, not quite yet. We'll see. See your Pega App 11, okay. STRL. Data Dog, there we go. CoreWeave. Let's do these. Make sure they're all in the software. I believe so. It's hard to remember all these stocks. Software. Sterling infrastructure. Oh, yeah, that's not software. Sterling's not software. Who gave me Sterling? G-Dave. We can get back to it. We just want the software right now. Google. You guys already give me the miners. We'll get to the miners in just a moment here. Real quick, let's look at these. First of all, only one's got value opportunity. Look, Pegasystems. Let's look at the growth rate and earnings here of that value. Ooh, positive sales growth rate, outpacing sales growth rate. We might have a little fish to put on our radar. All right, let's get into them. Let's graph them. I like a good fish. You know me. Ain't no one hungrier to make that $1 million than me. I guarantee you. I'll eat all of you. I'm hungry too. All right, Credo. Again, it's just perfect example here. Look at this. Just perfect example. First stock, perfect example. Price, just diverging away from value. Crazy. Like value's rising, right? And you can see it's actually caught in this little zone here. I got a little line at the top, a little support here at the bottom. If we break this, I'm going to tell you right now, I want to get excited till we get closer to value. That's for sure. I don't want to get close. Get excited. This stock's been overvalued the entire time. Not that it's bad. And again, that's if you notice, the buy recommendation can still be given in an overvalued stock. Yes, that is true. That is true. The valuation is not in the buy recommendation. I just talk about it all the time because I believe in it. I believe it. Oh, Weenie Hologram? That is a software stock. I'm actually curious about that one. I'm curious about that one. Valaxi, what'd you say? I saw you retracting your message. Just make sure. It's in software. Okay. It's been a while. I know it was on the quantum watch list. I liked Weenie. Let's see what it's doing now. Not necessarily as investment, but I like the swing trade nature. App. Same thing. Just overvalued, taking a breather. I mean, look at both of these. Same exact thing. Just diverged away from her value, taking a breather, letting value come back up, right? That's not a bubble. That's just logic. That stocks that run away from their valuation either take a breather or they start to come back down, right? You want to call that a bear market? You want to call that a bubble? I call it logic. Does that make sense? Here's Pega. I'm going to be honest with you, Pega. I like that value just rising. I like the earnings per share rising. I really want to get excited as far as an investment perspective here. So add a growth rate, 25%. I can live with 25% earnings. Let's go to 5 years here. Look at this. Perfect example here. Look at another stock IPO'd or just trading way over value. Well, here's our value. Came crashing down. Kind of got fairly valued here. We see this over and over. That's why I love our value so much. I'm not even a value trader. I can't stop talking about it, right? Most of the calls I make, especially earnings, I'm looking at value, right? Most of the stock, even if I look at a technical trade, think about this. If I'm in a technical trade setup, whatever it may be, ascending channel, cup and handle, whatever it may be, I'm much more optimistic in a technical trade that is undervalued, right? Because there's two reasons. Two reasons why. First reason, if it's a bullish technical trade, then for lack of words, technically the traders would want to push it up, right? But second, the fundamental traders will come in. They're like, wow, that stock's got value. It's got momentum. They don't know what the momentum traders are doing, but they like it. And now you got both teaming up, right? As far as Pega, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of pressure today. I ain't going to rush into it. This would be a put in a watch list, wait till the dust settles, and you might really have a good opportunity here. But just throwing it out there. That's a last close line. Let's use a horizontal line here. Boom, 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 boom. Broke. I treat it like a zone right in there. That's where I would look for support. See if you find the pivot with some follow through to the upside there. Otherwise, this one actually was already tested. This one's already tested. So we might test it again. Let's call it a double bottom chart pattern, by the way. But yeah, I would say within this range here, probably about $29. Really feeling greedy. That would be probably a good price if I had to guess. 30 to 37, right? Now, if we wait and price comes down here, say next week or the following week, and who knows if it will, right? Again, I don't have a crystal ball. But if it does get down here, the one thing I would be looking at before just buying in this or looking for, a little pivot or some confirmation would be just to make sure value's still rising, right? I don't want to see value start to roll over too, right, as price action's rolling over. And that ain't going to, that's going to turn into my least favorite chart pattern, right? Analysts for Pega have been saying slow growth forward compared to other software. Well, William, I would put it like this then. Just logically thinking, if the analysts are saying that, right? I'm thinking that Pega, no one's willing to pay a premium for, right? It's not, it doesn't have the news, the hype around it, right? It's not an app loving kind of thing, right? I mean, it's still got 25% earnings growth rate, earnings per share. I mean, it's still got good numbers, right? So again, if it gets closer to 30, and you're, it's going to be aggressive in nature. I imagine looking at RV and RS, maybe even speculative. So it's not a conservative pick for sure, but it might be just a good trade setup. All right, let's take a look at this one. We got Weeme. I talked about Weeme about a year ago. They had some quantum computing aspects with the company here. But the problem with Weeme was, there we go. We had undervalued, and it was a good swing trade stock. You see these little swings here? Man, I was ping-ponging this thing like crazy. Yeah, it's around December. This is when I did the QSI trade. I don't know if you guys remember that. The QSI quantum trade. That did pretty well. Let's see here. But look at it now. Yeah, value's still dropping. Price is still dropping. Let me go to the big picture here. Oh, this stock's been around for at least a couple years. Let's see here. Since 2020. Shot right up. Yeah, value's declining. Price is declining. One thing I will note is look at the growth rate was negative for a long time. But now look at that growth rate from -7%, -8% for a while. But now it's climbing. Now it's at 26%. This is what I would do. If you're holding Weeme, obviously put some kind of stop in place that is suitable for you, right? But my one morning time to be taking out this prior low, and we're approaching it now. Prior low, 223. We need to stay above that, right? If we break that, be careful. But if you're thinking about buying it, I just want to see value rising. I need to start to see value rising some more, right? And I need to see price action take out the prior swing high. And it's going to be aggressive. I'm not going to act like it's not. All right, here's CoreWeave. Look at this. Broke the descending channel. Looks like it was going to form it out a little bit. Broke it. Had a level of resistance here. Kind of consolidated around that zone. Hollow did the same as Weemy. Oh, I think Hollow is the one I might have been thinking about, honestly. Or wait, isn't Weemy Hollow? Is it Weemy hologram? Holographic? Yeah, Weemy hologram. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Is there another symbol called Hollow? Interesting. CoreWeave. Let's see what CoreWeave is doing here. No data exists. Let's zoom in here. Software company. Sorry, not kind of software. More like the AI data center. You know, they're kind of like an iron energy kind of thing, right? But look at the value. That's not good. You had all this hype, Microsoft deals, you know, NBIS was in this category, Iron Limited was in this category. Valuation stretched here. At this rate, you got to stay above 87. You got the clear support there. You got to stay above 87. But from a realistic standpoint, look at the value. You know, I get it. I bought Iron in my portfolio, a little bit overvalued, but I compared them all. You guys remember that video? Where I took all those software stocks or those type of stocks, the NBIS, I think Big Bear AI was in there. I chose Iron because I did value divided by price, right? And it was closest, right? So that's kind of why I chose it. I like the forecasted earnings per share. I like the growth rate. But again, they have a deal with Microsoft, right? Microsoft's under pressure right now. So you can see Microsoft's under pressure. Look, this stock looks like it's under pressure as well. I just got to have it stay above 87. If it drops below that, it can get caught back in this consolidation zone. But if it breaks this consolidation zone, I mean, our value is way down here. So I know that's not the news some people may want to hear. But just be careful. I want to say above 87. Above 87. Here's Datadog. Looks like a big rollover. Up, and then back down. You see the RT relative timing, giving you an ample warning sign, then followed by our sell rating here, coming in around 142. The price of the stock did dip below as low as 117, looks like, or actually 115. Interesting. Hollow did this. Oh, Hollow is micro cloud hologram. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to look into Hollow. Actually, this is the last one anyways. Datadog, it's just overvalued, right? I'm going to tell you right now, the stocks that we looked at, all these software companies, way overvalued, right? So yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't, again, focus on the value. There are pockets of a bubble. I mean, we're seeing that, right? There are pockets of a bubble. I don't want to be in those pockets, right? All right, what time is it here? 12:47. Because we got to talk about one other thing today. And then we're going to get to your picks. And then I'm going to do like I did yesterday. So heads up, you better go ahead and hit that like button because we're going to stick to Glenn's rule. For every 10 likes, you get one stock. But I don't just want your ticker symbol. I want a story behind your ticker symbol. I want you to know if you plan on just doing a swing trade. Do you already own the ticker symbol? Are you thinking about buying the stock? What price you might be in at? Those kind of things, right? So like John, you put in Amazon Lily. What do I know? I don't know if you're a swing trader, Lily, or Amazon. I don't know if you've been holding them for 10 years. I don't know what your goals are, right? So instead of just giving me a stock all willy-nilly, I really want to give you good advice. So after you put in the symbol, just put like a sentence or two or whatever. Yeah, like Jim said, swing trade, COPX. Perfect. All right, but hold those. Hit that like button in the meantime real quick. Because we want to go to miners. Low price miners. This watch list I did here. I'm going to give you a heads up. This watch list is something that I stole from Steve Chappell from the Jockey Club this morning. I was watching it. If you don't know about that, Steve Chappell, he's one of our coaches here. Phenomenal coach. I mean, every time I spend time with him, I learn some good stuff. Like that whole Intel thing last week. He didn't point out Intel, but we were going over the symmetry of stocks, essentially, and how they like to move. And that's how I translated that strategy into the Intel thing. And you can see, drops that hit, the top of the channel, roughly right at the target the next door. So these here, you can see the pressure. Look at the pressure. I got 20 here. Let's go to 41. Let's show them all here. All right, the pressure is on. Right? I'm not necessarily scared of any of these stocks, right? US Antimony down 15%. Remind me of US Antimony. We could look at it if you guys want to. I'm not surprised by that. We'll take a look at it here. But let's do this. Value divided by price. These are all of the junior miners. These are small stocks here. You see the prices? Very low price list of stocks here, right? 4 cents. However, we were looking for stocks with RV greater than 1. So we went low price stocks, fundamentals, but look at the growth rate and earnings here. I cherry picked. There's like 200 stocks, right? So I took Steve's example of utilizing the software. Think about it, there's over 200. There's a lot of miners, right? So this list here is really homing in on the good ones, the smaller cap good ones here, right? Now, if I right click and I go to view industry graph, this is where we're going to talk about mining today. We're still in the uptrend, right? But look, we got a big drop before we hit that trend again, right? So hopefully we fiddle around a little bit and let this trend line make its way up. I do like this retest here. We had the breakout. Remember, we talked about this. You see the line still there? Boom, boom, boom. Pretty close, but then we gapped up. Got a little bit extra here. But this is the point I want to make. If I get rid of growth rate, earnings per share, RT, and get rid of the stop price, look at this. And during this run, every time we get close to the valuation or over it, you see how it's short-lived when we get a pullback, right? We get close to the valuation, we get close to the valuation, and then we kind of tend to be pulled back to this trend line, right? So look what happened this time. We got close to the valuation. Looks like we're getting to a pullback. I don't know if we're going to pull all the way back to the trend line, but I'll tell you one thing. This is where I'm looking for support right here. You see the gap? And it's right at the top of this pattern. So that's a good reason for support. So yeah, I can see maybe a little bit more of a pullback. But overall, let's see here. Trump recently removed floor pricing or minimum price for U.S. rare earth plus critical minerals. Many of those. Well, William, I'll be honest with you. With China controlling most of the market, I don't know what you're talking about. Trump removed the floor pricing because China sets the prices on this stuff, right? We found this out in 2025 when we decided to do the tariffs, right? To test our supply chains, right? So I'm gonna be more focused on what China does with the rare earths rather than what Trump's doing. Because what Trump is doing, it's good for the domestic miners. That's why you're seeing companies like UAMY, USAR, Propel, right? And you're gonna see more government interest in that. Wait a day and he'll change his mind. And blame everything on Trump. I don't like to get political, but I'm going to say China has more influence in the realm of rare earths than Trump, right? And look at this. I just want to be curious here while I'm looking at it, because I've said this before. If you ever take like random tops in the past, let's just see what we got here. There it is. That's it. That's the parabolic trend line we need to stay above. I'm going to put that right there. Get rid of this little guy. And we got a little zone here, that trend line. I kind of like this. We might hold this right here, this area. But if we break it, and again, I'm looking at the industry as a whole, but if we break around 13, it says 13.15, I'll just call it 13, then I would be a little bit more concerned as far as, more bearish pullback, right? All right, let's see here. Let's get rid of this. But yeah, as far as miners, I still like it. Real quick, I want to look at VIAV. I want to look at UAMY. I'm going to look at my portfolio real quick just to show you, give you an update with Glenn's portfolio and all that good stuff. And then we'll get to your stocks. We'll get there in just a second here. 6 months. That looks good. That looks really good here. Nice breakout, full body candlesticks. Valaxi, thank you. Thank you. Look, you even sent us some euros, man. I like that, especially the dollar losing its value. I wouldn't mind a couple euros. Appreciate you. Or at least it shows a euro symbol here. Valaxi, are you in Europe by chance? You in Europe? All right, let's do these two. And then let me add yours real quick. VPG. There we go. So VIAV, it looks good. It looks real good. I'd probably put a star search on there just to make sure we're not getting a little overstretched. because now it's getting more on the parabolic side of things. So there's star search. You're in the fast lane. You can see we're above this Bollinger Band here. So I would be surprised if we get a little bit more of an upper wick. But really, this yellow lane. Oh, Germany, nice. That's where my family's from, or at least my mom's side. Just outside Frankfurt, by the way. But yeah, so if you've never used the star search before, this is also really nice. Say, if you're an investor and one of your stocks go parabolic and you're not exactly sure, when to take profits, let it run, all that good stuff, because that's not what you're used to, and that's fine. But if you switch to star search, pretty much it'll just stay in this fast lane, and if it breaks this yellow line here, this was this the upper band of the 1 day period. Or sorry, standard deviation of 1. Duh. Sorry, standard deviation of 1. As long as it stays above this yellow line, you're good, right? But if it breaks this, even Glenn said it quite a bit. If it breaks this yellow line in a parabolic move, taking some off the table, getting some of those profits locked in, never a bad idea. Never a bad idea locking in some profits here. All right, here's UAMY. Look at this, right back to the channel. Boom. That's all I had to do. It's the channel. If you don't know about UAMY and the channel, I've been talking about this forever. There's a little channel back here. Let's just go to 1 year. There we go. You see the channel, just connect the lows for the bottom of the channel and it connects these highs here. It's pretty much just ignore this. Just ignore this. Right? That's just a parabolic move. But right now we're just retesting the top of the channel, right? So if you are a trader, I'd be more bearish. If you get a pivot off the top of this channel, that's fine. I wouldn't be too surprised by that. We'll see what happens. But if you're more of an investor, as an investor, even me, I didn't buy above this red channel. Well, I had to buy a little bit because I ran out of time in my 2026 portfolio. But most of it was filled down here. I think about half of my position was filled down here. I think my dollar cost average, actually, let's go see real quick. Cost average, somewhere in here. Scroll over. Where is the cost? Kind of interesting. Oh, no, that's gain per share. Where's the cost per share? Normally it says it. Price, cost basis. Let me see here. Layout, in case you ever need to change these things. Yeah, cost per share type. All right, there we go. UAMY 593, right? 593. So let's get back into here. So value, if I add value, 578. So I'm slightly over our valuation when it comes to my 2026 price. Yeah, I probably wish I would have bought all in here, but I was catching a falling knife, so I just wanted some confirmation. I'm happy with that. But just remember, if we stay above this, the bulls could easily take charge again, right? And if we get back down below this red line, then that's when the investments opportunities would really come into play. But right now, I want to be in a rush to buy it, especially as an investor. All right, here is VPG, Vishay Precision. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like the value flat. So let's just get rid of that. So I'll stop talking bad about it. All right, earnings per share. Let's do this. Let's go 3 and 6 here. We're in the fast lane. So I modified my star search. I just took the bands out of that and I put them in my own layout. So I've got star search here. So this meets star search. 3's above the 8, above the 20. Look at those retests on the 22. I like that. Let's go to 5 year, see if there's any resistance in play. Ooh, we took out the prior resistance. If I use a freehand line, this is telling me that we need price to stay above $44. If it breaks above it, what does it normally like to do? I'm not going to be surprised if it comes back down at some point and retest this prior swing high around $44, right? Just won't be surprised by that. If I keep going back, we are at all-time highs, it looks like. Yeah, look at that. And we've got, if I'm going to play this right here, we've got 1, 2 major touches here, right? And we just broke through it. So as of right now, if I'm going to play as a swing trade, I would just use a star search here or a 3. Let's get rid of value 200 day. clean up this chart a little bit. Get rid of this RT. Let's see here. Yeah, there's that line, that $44. You see resistance here, some upper wicks. Broke it, came back. So it already did the retest. Oh, snap. This thing might just be off to the races, buddy. Valaxi, I ain't going to lie, man. Valaxi, yes, VPG is on a profit taking. You can always buy it back. I'll be honest with you, though. We broke it, came back. We already did the retest, and pretty close to that 20-day EMA as well. This sucker might got a little more oomph in it. It might have a little bit more to go. I'm not going to lie. Let's use Star Search here. This one's got my attention. Yeah, we might hook on this band. See how this white band, when we hook onto it, 1, 2, 3 days. I don't know when the party's going to be over, but we might hook onto it for 1, 2, 3, or a little bit at least. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I want to be quite ready to give it up. Now, if we take out today's low, I don't know where you bought it at. Yeah, you might want to take your profits and run. But this might actually be a good trade. And just, if we're going to do symmetry, I take the bottom to the high here. We break this. What is that? For 50 to about $7. And we're at 50. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. 50. Yeah, that's 52 if we touch the band. So a couple days into it, yeah, we could get to $55, $57. I'm not going to put that out of the realm. But I will say, you can see the momentum on this Bollinger Band here. If it breaks this yellow line, or especially if it takes out today's low, I'd take my profits and run, maybe even sooner. But as far as letting it run a little bit more to the upside, I'm not opposed to it. Not opposed to it. Not. No, don't. Now, if you start to see this thing turn around, act according to your discipline, right? But I do like the setup. All right. How many likes do we got, Joey? What do we got here? Oh, look at that. Likes are good. We got 7 stocks today. Put the 7 stocks in. Let's get to it. Because I got the daily color guard report here soon. So we're going to have to do this rather quick.
I'm not afraid to talk about /stream and in your chat.
Yes. All right. See here. Customer picks. There we go. Let's get rid of these. All right. Before we get into this, as I take these stock picks here, don't forget, I said it before, I'm learning a lot from Steve Chappell, and there might be a shot of me getting in the jockey club at some point. But that guy is so smart. Jared Ambrosio, so smart. Tampa, next month, February 20th, February 21st. I know it's just a couple weeks away. Probably too late. But if you can, book a trip. You want to come down, I think there's a couple seats left. Not too many. Otherwise, if you want the great information, free, just go to vectorvest.com/stream. That's our stock market masterclass. 2-day event here. Definitely check it out. All right, let's see here. Galaxy, BPG, Orla. There we go. Orla is actually one of my holdings. Let's see here. STRL. Gotcha, G-Dave. SEI. Thinking of buying, technically, the stock appears to be consolidating just below all-time highs and may be setting up to break through $60 resistance. That's the kind of story I like. CLS. We'll take a look at CLS. And see here. Next one, APH and HUT. Some of you, I'll add Dave too, since you put in the swing trade thing here. All right. So let's talk about this. Can I join Tampa just for the after party? Oh, man. I would say, Tabla, if you're going to go to any VectorVest after party, you probably want to go to that Las Vegas after party. You know what they say? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? All right, let's get to it here. First up, Orla. I already own as a swing trade. Or I like Orla. Let's see here. It is one of my positions here, up 24% in it. I filled it right away in my portfolio. Portfolio's doing good. It was at 27% earlier today, but UAMY kicked me in the butt today. That's okay. Overall, I'm all right with it. Let's see here. Go back to viewers. So as far as value, Orla and Dave. Wait, hold up. Dave is a software. That's what I thought. Yeah, hold up. Dave might have an opportunity here. Okay. I'm not mad at Celestica. Down 13%. Amphenol up a little bit. Solaris Energy, SEI up a little bit. Hut Mining down. Mixed bag here. Let's take a look at the charts. So, just as Star Search can work for a basic template on a bullish swing trade, you can see right here, worked out pretty well, right? Use a freehand line, kept us in the trade right about here, and probably would have, considered taking a little bit off the table here, right? But definitely by here, the other half of the table probably would have been gone, right? So it worked out pretty well. And then now here you can see going down to the slow lane, nice move to the downside, right? So it worked just the same way. If you plan on shorting a stock, put options, whatever it be, some kind of bearish strategy, it's just the exact opposite. Instead of being in this lane, you just look for it to be in this lane, right? But Dave, I like that. And let's actually switch Dave over to a VectorVest simple layout real quick. Let's go to a 1 year chart. Value. That ain't good for the technicals. That's a whole lot of consolidation there. Man, I tell you what. Who gave me Dave? Let's see here. Someone gave me Dave. Dave, where did Dave go? Someone gave me Dave. So many comments. Ryan, we can't hear you when you lean back. Volume drops off by more than half. Oh, sorry about that. Dave, let's see here. Dave looks like a good swing. Dixie Stickies. Why would that look like a good swing to you? Real talk. Why would that look like a good swing? Now, I do get the concept of the ping and pong, right? Buy down here, sell up here. It's worked out pretty well, pinging and ponging. But we just broke that, right? So, and I did this in my beginning of my investment journey by all means. So if I'm going to do a swing here, right? Swing, obviously I want to find some kind of pivot, right? This might not too much a follow through here. A little bit better of a pivot like this here. Looks a little bit better of a pivot, right? A little bit better of a pivot. Kind of bring you back up. This, not so much, right? So if it didn't work out, just make sure you have a stop and stay disciplined. It might be closing that trade. But I'll be honest with you. It's a channel. I'm going to use some of that knowledge I try to get from Steve Chappell once in a while. Yeah, about that. So if I boom, boom, boom. Look at that. You know where that target puts me? Right at this gap fill. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. But if price actually keeps breaking, you see, broke this channel, and just the symmetry of how stocks like to move. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. It doesn't always work. And the only reason why I think this might not work is just because the value keeps rising. Let's take a look at earnings growth rate, see if it stands out. 50%. Yeah. So I don't know how much of a discount we get here. But I'll be honest with you, just like, Microsoft, if it got down to 400, if Dave got down here, shoot, I might just put an alert on my broker right now. Like, that could be a good swing trade pivot off that level. And as long as value doesn't drop and growth rate earnings doesn't go poopy, that would be a heck of a price. I might be texting my mom, get on some Dave Financial. But right now with that break, bud, I do not see a swing stock or swing trade in the midst here. If I did see a swing trade, it'd be more of a bearish manner. GME swing stock buyback news and Barry comments. GME swing stock buyback news and Barry comments. What you talking about? Alpha Autopilot. I was thinking it was going to bounce off support, but unfortunately it just broke support. Dixie Stixie, I get it. Trust me, it did it so many times in the past. It was pinging and ponging. If we did get a little fakey, I'd put right here. I'd look for right there for support. You see the connection of those two candlesticks. But honestly, the fact that this channel, you see the width of the channel? You see when I put it here, that target just literally puts me right in the gap fill. I mean, that's kind of ironic, right? So yeah, I like Dave, but just not right now, just right now. But I do get the swing trade. Sometimes those swings don't always work, right? That's why you got to stay disciplined and make sure you stay in the game, especially if you're trading options on it, right? Because you know if that goes against you, you can lose it all real quick. As far as Orla here, I'm just curious. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Oh wait, nope. Let's go into a 6-month time frame. About right there. Look at that target. So here's a channel, right? So same concept, different direction, right? Here's Orla. Here's the channel. Break the channel. Look at the target. Hits the target on key. I know I'm not saying it hits the target. Orla is just going to keep going down from here. No, it's just a short-term target, right? So I see that same thing going on with Dave. I'm just going to be honest with you. So you know, whatever that price was, actually, I'm going to write that sucker down because I'm going to put that alert on my broker because I have a feeling that might be a good trade set. That's 108. Dave. All right, cool. All right, here's Orla again. We just hit the short-term price target, just measuring the width of this channel. Again, hopefully I taught you something today. If you didn't know that, yeah, you can always do that. Sterling, we were in a nice ascending channel. We broke it. But look at value. Value keeps rising. It keeps rising. I like it. I mean, I'm not going to have any real concerns for this. I will say, just looking at last close here, did we break this? We're getting a little bit of resistance here. You see a little bit of resistance zone, 374 right now at 372. Just be careful of much rejection here. And as far as a swing trade perspective, but as far as an investment, I mean, look, lower left, upper right, values moving, earnings is moving, growth rate forecasted data moving to the upside. I like it. Dave is waiting for a good crossover to be a buy. Glenn favorite crossover is a 3 MA crossing above the 8 MA, but try your best crossover. Well, me and Glenn think alike because look at mine. In my personal graph layout setup, I use a 3 and 8. I use a combination of a 3 and 8. I've got all the good moving averages here, 3, 8 EMAs, 20-day EMA, 200 regular, 40, not 400 regular moving average, value, forecasted data, earnings per share, all the good VectorVest stuff. And then for technicals, I just got my Bollinger Bands here, right, for my star search. But look, Sterling, it's in the star search, so that momentum is there. I like it. You know, let's just get break above this. But if we do get a lot of rejection here, just throwing this out there, that could be potentially a shoulder, head, and a shoulder. We're not even close to that yet, but just in case. I don't necessarily see that happening with that position. Now here's CLS, big drop down here. I'll be honest with you. Look, CLS was undervalued, pressure on, 200-day moving average pivot. Nice. Let's zoom back a little bit more here. I'm going to put it like this for CLS. CLS typically trades undervalued, right? But as of late, it was overvalued. So yeah, it taking a breather. I mean, the stock went from $100 to 400 or 350. Yeah, it's probably gonna need a little breather, right? I can see that breather taking place right here. Here's the bottom. Here's the top of the breather, right? Let's just move this line up. I don't need any more lines. But there's the top. Actually looks like a 1, 2, 3 triple top, possibly 2. If I had to guess, if we did get any real pressure here, which we're not there, we haven't taken out these prior swing lows, these wicks. That's going to be my first warning. Our T's already below 1. But yeah, undervalued. And if it comes back and retests this 200-day in the future, not going to be surprised. So yes, I would like some more consolidation. Let the 200 rise. I don't want price to drop and scare everybody. No, I just want consolidation, move to the side. Let the technicals catch up. Let the fundamentals catch up, right? Because the stock's historically traded undervalued, but now it's just at a premium, right? And we see the premium kind of stalled out relatively quickly here. You know, it just took a few months and then it kind of stalled out. All right, here's Amphenol. Amphenol, boop, 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 boop. Oh, look at here. Look at my little retest. Boom, boom, boom. Almost on the cue. Let me zoom in and make this perfect. But we had a descending channel, right? Broke the descending channel. Came back down. This is what I was looking for, the retest on this channel, which Looks like we were pretty close. So now we're back above the 20-day. Actually, I like this a lot. Yeah, I know the values. It's overvalued, but look at that price action. Lower left, upper right. As long as we stay above this line here, about 140, I'm going to be optimistic in it, right? But if it continues to roll over, I mean, I got the value and 200-day moving average almost moving in sync. Right now it's at 112, right? So if it keeps moving up and the stock moves back, it might meet in the middle. But ideally, I do like this pivot off of here. I do like this pivot. Even with the market pulling back here, not the best day in the market today. The stock's up, getting back above the 20-day EMA. I like it. All right, let's get here. SCI. Ooh, we got a lot of touches here. Yeah, this is the one you said was trading out near highs, consolidating. There's a consolidation right there. Boom, 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 boom. It tried to get back in the fast lane. I've got it. Because again, I'm looking at a 3 and 8. We'll take off the 3 and 8. We don't need that. Yeah, I wanted to get back in this fast lane, but I'm with you. I see the breather here. The last consolidation, it had to pivot off this 200, right? We'll see what these pivots are. I wonder what this is. Nope, that's a 40. Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to break up. I could see it. The only reason it might be short-lived, I'll be honest, just because it's overvalued and getting a little overextended from the 200-day. Otherwise, if it piddles around and comes back down, because look at this bottom of this channel here. A week or two from now, that 200-day moving average might be right at the bottom of that channel. So if you find it coming back down at the bottom of this channel and that 200-day, and you got lots of reasons for support there, that would be my pivot. Otherwise, it could take a breather, let that value catch up. Great stock, though. Great stock. I do like the concept or the premise of thinking this thing's going to move higher here. Let's go back here. Yeah, look at that value rocking and rolling. Earnings per share moving up. I like it. All right, last stock. We got Hut. Hut is in the house. Oh. So, price comes up. It breaks it. Prior swing high. There it is. There's the break. There's the retest. You see it? Break, new high, retest, going back up. I like it. As long as it stays above that 20, and especially as long as it stays above around this high here, around $55, I don't see much problem for Hut. Again, the market can pull this back just like any other stock. But right now, I like this momentum to the upside. The only caveat here, I'm going to stick more to the technicals because that value, it's not rising like an iron limited, right? If you look at iron's chart, that's why I chose iron. Like iron. Very similar. It was a crypto stock. Pivot to the AI data center race. Gotcha. But look at the value here. A lot more life in the value. See the value rising? It's not as flat. And this is when I scooped it because it was really close to our valuation. And I was kind of, I only had a couple weeks to buy these positions. But I still like it. But going back to Hut here, and it's going to move in tangent with each other. I wonder how, yeah, I see there's a lot of momentum here. Yeah, I just don't necessarily sold on it as I like iron better. I mean, just from the valuation perspective, earnings looks better. The growth rate in earnings, the growth rate here is only 3%. Iron growth rate 39%. So yeah, that's why I chose iron. Right? But Hut, it just got to stay above that. I like this breakout. And to be honest with you, if you want, no, it's not quite consolidation. Never mind. All right, let's get to it. Let's go back to the homepage here. 318. Joey's going to kill me. We got to get out of here. I got a daily color garden report. It looks like the NASDAQ picking up steam to the downside. Now around 300 points to the downside. And look at all the Midas touch stocks, right? The K92, the gold, the Harmony Gold, the platinum, right? The Pan American Silver. Pullbacks, right? So just be careful and just ask yourself what your goals are when it comes to these mining companies, right? And if you're up a bunch and it's way overextended, whether it's a value, a technical indicator, something like that, trimming a little bit of profits during those times, not a bad idea, right? You can always get into the gold and silver later, or back in, right? It's okay. It's not a big deal. ASML was between APH and Hut. Let's see here. ASML. Yes, we went over this one yesterday. The only thing I don't like about ASML, look at the value just flat right now. And I'll be honest with you, there is no retest here around $1,144, right? So if this momentum wanes, it starts to roll over, I'm going to look for a retest there. And the stock is way overvalued. Straightforward. I like Micron better. I'm even liking Nvidia better before the earnings. I had a whole lot of consolidation, and I'm going to put you on to something. Look at Nvidia right now. Nvidia looks like it's just filling up for a friggin' road trip. Look at this consolidation. Look at the value. The value ain't stopping. Value is not stopping. Right now, our value is over $250. It's trading under 200. That's 25% undervalued. And RT gaining that momentum to the upside, showing that there might be some momentum here soon. But as soon as Nvidia gets out of its own way, I'm not going to be surprised to see that thing hitting 205, 210, 220, 225. Right? I'm not going to be surprised by that by any means. And I know all the focus has been on Micron, but don't forget about who started it all, and that's Nvidia. On that note, I'm out of here. If you got access to the software, come check out the daily color guard report here in just a few. If you don't, check out a trial. 99 cents gets you access. 99 cents. Just go to vectorvest.com/YT. Otherwise, check out the Tampa event next year. Where do you think I learned all this stuff from? I learned it from the people that are going to be presenting next month. I won't be there, so I'm covering a lot of the videos back here at the office, but by all means, I will be watching it, and I will be writing down notes as well, because just like y'all, I'm hungry to make some money too. On that note, bye guys.